Hey there! Today we will go over the DHC ball and chain soldier manip. So this is an RNG manip used in the any percent speedrun of this game, which helps simplify the ball and chain soldier fight, as well as the last Darknut fight that you do before getting the last key in the dungeon and actually doing the last boss. To start off this video, we are going to need to know a few basic concepts. What is Ocarina Glitch? It's when you are against a door frame, you press up the first frame, then up and the Ocarina button the second frame. That's it. You get OG. What is RNG? What is the way RNG moves in this game? So RNG is the number you see on the bottom of the screen. So you have on the right an hexadecimal number, which doesn't matter, and on the left a number of RNG advance from the beginning of the game, since we soft reset the game. So if I roll, we can see the number changed and the number of advances changed by 1, because one roll calls RNG one time and changes what is called the seed, which is the hexadecimal number on the bottom. This really doesn't matter, except that you know what movement is modifying your RNG, basically. This is important because in this manip we will roll a lot, we will sword slash a lot, and we especially will boot dash a lot. And boot dash is known to change RNG a different way. So you can see that I'm at 11 cores. If I boot dash in its entirety, I change it by 12. This is independent of how long you boot dash. As long as you start moving, you will know that RNG has moved by 12 from the boot dash. Now that we know all of this, we can actually look at this clip I made of the standard movement of the manip, which is to say the movement you do when you know that you are right on track with RNG. Okay. This has the inputs as well, as you can see just right above me. Sadly, I cannot display RNG as well as inputs, and I thought that inputs at this point are more important to the video than showing RNG, which is not actually very telling right now, because you don't yet know the patterns and the expected RNG to look out for, basically. So here we get the last OG of the game. Equip boots. This room is important. And here we have the first fight of our manip. Taking damage is optional there. I just didn't care when making the movie. Do this room, which I will not go over because it's a standard trick to know how to do if you want to know Dark Hyrule Castle, how to do the walkthrough. This fight we do not manip, it's just the standard cape way of doing it. But doing the fight a certain way is expected, or else you won't get the right RNG. So moving out of this fight, we have to turn left and face the last red Darknut of the game. So wait for the dash, slash 5 times, then roll into the puzzle room, which at this point, after the Sulfos just go on this pillar, is basically manipless. So this is just the angle retention trick, which is not really a manip. And then collect the key, basically. So that is it for the clip of the manip. That is the standard movement for the manip to know. And what we are looking for is to look at a mummy pattern during the manip and actually correct the RNG from then on. After this trick, we can now go over the details of the manip. So let's first see the difficult part of the manip, which is the Moblin Room, and then let's, after this, go over the mummy's pattern, which is the most important part. There are 6 patterns to memorize, so this is the part you want to look out for if you want to learn something. Okay, so Moblin Room. I'm going to go frame by frame in this to show how the RNG moves. So here the movement is just to boot dash neutrally, transition. Here we have 71 calls of RNG, 75 going into the room, and now this room, I call it difficult because there are 2 moblins and 3 bats that each are moving RNG independently. So you'll see that this has quite an effect. So 79, move a few frames, 83, 87, move a bit, 90. So you see that just in a few tiles of movement, the RNG has moved by a lot. Basically 15 calls in like less than a second. So this is basically the room where the chaos happens. So you want to be as fast as possible, as precise as possible. And here's how to do it and what to look out for. So you want basically to aggro the leftmost moblin in order to disable its capacity to influence RNG after aggroing you. Because the moblin will see you, try to do a charge attack, and fly off in the distance. So this is done in order to reduce how the RNG is going to move. So boot dash until you barely touch this green carpet, or its bottom rather, and you are going to release boot dash. For me it's button B. Start holding left to turn link and start boot dashing over, and here you just need to hold B again, not any direction. You want to be precise. You want to reach this room's transition as fast as possible in order to minimize chaos. So here we just moved barely a tile, and it went from 108 to 113. So this is the chaos that happens in this room. Okay, so coming out of this room, we are on 122. Rolling up we transition at 127. This is a room where nothing moves, so this is a sort of reference point for me. Let me now try and show you the different RNG you end up on by just doing the same thing. So, RTA, I mean. Okay, so. Okay, I managed to get lucky and end up on the same 127. Let me try again. Okay. Now I'm on 130. Still charging. 130 again. $128 this time. So this is just a demo of how chaotic this room is. So barely changing up my movement, I managed to find like 3 different patterns of RNG, basically. So now that we saw how to move in the Moblin Room, we are going to explain the main goal of this manip. So the point of the manip is to go fast in the Moblin Room as to not scramble RNG too much, and then hope to get to the mummy room and see a pattern that you recognize among 6 that I'm going to show, basically, given that you did the Moblin Room fast enough. So if you do it really fast, always the same way, you are going to get these 6 patterns. This is important. So let's show what pattern I'm talking about on the screen. We see 6 different patterns with numbers on them. This is simple to explain. So each number corresponds to how early or late in terms of RNG you are. So you want to come out of the mummy room and basically correct RNG according to this number before starting the ball and chain soldier fights. For example, on -3, you want to get OG, for example, do the standard movement, and in between all of this, try to add 3 sword slashes or 3 rolls, stuff like this, and you will actually end up on the right RNG to start the ball and chain soldier fights. For +2, as another example, you are going to want to subtract rolls in order to end up on the right RNG again. +0, it's simple. You do the standard movement and then you can start the fight immediately. Let us look at what happens if we do the Moblin Room and just observe the mummies and then act accordingly. Okay. Alright, now in frame by frame, Okay, jump at the door frame. So mummies are still moving right now. This is not telling of the pattern you're in. And then go upstairs. Mummies are going to stop their movement, and you're going to analyze this pattern that they take, and just look at the chart and decide what you need to do next. So in this case, we have 2 mummies in order. This is important because some patterns are symmetric to each other, so you need to memorize more than just the directions. You need to memorize a sort of word. So direction first, direction second, direction third. So in this case it's north, northeast. So NNE, look at the charts. NNE is what? It's this one on +1. So +1, we just need to subtract 1 roll from the standard movement, and we are going to be okay. Let's actually look at if we are okay or not. So, okay. I'm going to cheat a bit there and do OG in frame by frame. So up, A. Okay, messed up the cape there. Equip boots, dash. So we are currently +1 and need to correct this by rolling once and not doing this roll. Roll twice in this room, and then we are good to go. Okay, I messed up. Let me just alright. And we end up on the right RNG, did the right fights, and basically we are happy with this. Let's try to simulate another pattern. So go on the save state. Okay. So what we are looking at right now is east, east, north. What is this basically? Look at the chart again. East, east, north is -3. The leftmost top pattern. So this is -3. And this tells us we need to add 3 rolls or slashes to our movement in order to correct it. I'm going to have to cheat again. Real quick. So up. Get Ocarina glitch. Okay, don't transition into the next room. So right now we are on -3. So we need to do an extra roll. 2 normal rolls, 2 more normal, and because I did an extra roll earlier, I need to add 2 more in order to match the RNG. and we actually get the nice fight. Okay, I messed up completely there, but we see that they basically gathered. Okay. Yeah, let me try to actually do it correctly for once. Okay. And again, same RNG we end on. And we beat the ball and chain soldiers. So now let us look at a few corner cases of this manip. So for example, in this next room that we are going in, are fire wizrobes spawning in it. So one thing you need to know is whenever a wizrobe first spawns, it does nothing to RNG. When it first despawns, it advances RNG by 1, and each time they spawn or despawn after this is going to influence RNG by 1. Since then that in this room there are 2 fire wizrobes, this is counted in multiples of 2. So say you fail OG multiple times, you will need to remember how many times they spawned, and from what I told you, adapt and basically subtract how much change they introduced in the RNG. And say it happens like a lot of time. Say they modify RNG by 6, for example. This is the nice thing about this manip, is that you are going to be able to replace the boot dash that you do in the next room, which is 12 RNG calls, by less RNG calls for basically the same movements, by replacing it with only rolls. So for example, if you don't boot dash in the next room and only roll, you can do like 6 roll. This is going to add up to 8 RNG calls less than the usual standard movement. So this is how you manage OG failures, basically. Another thing to look out for is a very specific mummy pattern. I'm going to show you. This is the -1 pattern. So this one basically. So this one is the usual, as we can see in the chart, -1 east, north, north. This is the only pattern where the rightmost mummy can actually turn south and not affect RNG at all. I do not know why this happens, but it does happen, and you need to be conscious of it. Like, you need to be able to have seen the -1 pattern and saw that it actually did the unexpected thing and say, yeah, this is okay, this is still -1. Okay, so a nice last thing about this manip is the way that when you finish fighting the Black Darknut, so you want usually to go left and do the rest of the manip, but there's actually a manip for the right side which I devised. that I'm going to show basically. This is just movement, there's no patterns to look out for, this is just a Darknut fight and then a Guinea fight. Okay, so here, instead of just going down, you need to slash one time, roll, go diagonally right, go into this room by rolling, and doing this. Okay, so basically a lot happened in this short period of time. I'm going to break down all of it, basically. So at the end, so we slash the first slash by just holding down, and then the 3 other slashes by holding down right in order to actually catch the rightmost Darknuts. This is just the movement at the end. Before that, we did a cape jump diagonally up and left in order to get over them and actually get the good placement. Because if you're above the rightmost Darknut, the red one is going to shield your slashes and the fight is not going to go nicely at all. So this is why we cape jump diagonally. So starting in this room is 2 rolls, 1 down, 1 right to get into position. And we actually went into this room by rolling there. Right there, we turn right, do a roll, transition. All of this frame by frame. So face down, roll, roll again, start all holding up left, tap, cape in order to not move too much, slash by holding down, then 2 more slashes. Okay, so here I didn't hold down, so slash. Okay, I'm too late on this. Slash above the red Darknut, hold down, slash again. That makes 2 times. Go diagonally down right, slash again. Okay, I didn't go far enough. Slash again. And 1 last time. Okay, so they were already dead, and then you can actually use this death cutscene by just before the cutscene equipping lantern and lighting it before it plays, so you sort of gain time. After this, in this room, you can pick up this heart that just disappeared. You have to roll once. In this room, we want to roll 3 times. Doesn't matter of the order. You just have to do 3 times. So 1, 2, 3 there. Go into the Guinea room. Go right. Then roll up between the rightmost 2 pillars. And then isolate the right Guinea, as I'm going to show really quickly. Nice, okay, so that is it for the right side of the dungeon, that you can also do as well if you're not really comfortable with angle retention or the Star Force room and you prefer to do this side. There is actually one last thing I wanted to mention. It is about the Black Darknut fight, which, as I said before, is manipless. There's a way to do it that is guaranteed. But an important thing is, in the movie I showed a way to do the Black Darknut fight, which involves sword stabs. Preferably, you want to be doing this fight by just slashing the Darknut 7 times. It is always going to end up on the same RNG, as the stab fight can end up on 2 RNG, 2 possible RNG patterns. This is not wanted because it depends on how quickly you are able to do this fight, and you do not want to rely on chaotic outcomes like this. So just do this fight by going into the room, rolling cape 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and roll. I got on the teleporter. It doesn't matter. You want to stay out of it, but as we saw, we got on 331 RNG, which is the correct number. Yeah, so that was the last detail. Thank you for watching this tutorial on the Manip, and have a nice day.